Hello, this video is for conducting basic stock market research. We're going to go over Google Finance website using AT&T as the test company. We're also going to check Google News, just very basic internet searches for that. And then we're going to look at the more complicated MAG library databases. To get started, go to finance.google.com. You can also use Yahoo, but I prefer Google. And the company that I'm working with is AT&T. Now let's say that I can't remember the stock ticker symbol. I'll just put in the company name ATT. There it is. AT&T, its symbol is T on the New York Stock Exchange. Instantly, the graph that we see is 1 day. The current stock is trading at $39.08 a share, and it is up right at 3 cents a share. This graph, you can easily see how its trading fluctuated throughout the day. It didn't change a whole lot. Its open was $39.01, and the high was $39.11. The low was $38.86. So it was minimal fluctuation today. I can change this graph to 5 days to see how the stock's performed over the past 5 days. I can change it to 1 month. That shows me that over the past month it's been on the steady upstream. That's great. 6 months continuously going up, with the exception of this dip right here. By dollar amount, it wasn't very much. It only dipped like $1, but it strikes me as a fairly large, significant dip right around Tuesday, July 23rd, Monday, July 22nd. If I am going to try to explain this, I need to research what was going on Monday, July 22nd, and Tuesday, the 23rd. What happened during those 2 days that affected the stock in such a way? Likewise, what happened here around Wednesday, September 11th, when the stock went way up? I can change year to date, and since this is technically it's January 1, it's not going to show me anything. Past 1 year data has been on a steady increase from a low of around $29.54 to its current sale price of $39.08. I can change to 5 years. Over the 5-year span, it hit like this fairly rocky patch right here where it went way down, and now it's back up. It's not back up to its highs, but it is on the rise. By looking at MAX, that will show me how the stock has been performing since the company went public. Not necessarily when the company was founded, but when it began trading under its current name with the New York Stock Exchange. So MAX takes me 1984 there, way over here, 1983. That's probably its IPO. 1983, 84, and then it dropped significantly. I think that that's very interesting. That could be where they broke up the baby bells with the trade antitrust legislation. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, other data that's here is very helpful. Market capacity, 285.48 billion. That's how many shares are out there. Dividend yield, 5.32%. There are basically 2 ways that you can make money in the stock market. One is short-term investment or day trading, where you're trying to make your profit based on the value of the shares alone. That would be you buy at, say, $39.08 and you sell at $40.08, so you've made $1 per share. That's just making money based on the sale and purchase of the stock itself. The second way to make money is long-term investing, where the company actually pays you a dividend. The dividend says 5.32%. That seems to me to be on the higher end. That's why AT&T stock typically is not any more expensive than, say, the 20s to the 40s. because they reinvest their profits in the form of dividends paid to the shareholders. A lot of other companies don't pay a dividend, and so all of the profits that they make goes right back into the company. This they pay out to the shareholders. So that's the two basic ways of making money with the stock market, is either selling based on the purchase price of the stock, or buying with the intent to hold the stock for a while and actually make money in the form of dividends paid to you. So the second thing that I need to do in researching this company is to see what's being said about the company in the news. From this same page, Google Finance, I can click on News, and this is going to show me instances where AT&T has been mentioned. It's covered in the news right here. AT&T gains but lags market, what you should know. If I'm doing research on this company for investment, I think I'm going to look at that article. That's very relevant. One from MarketWatch. I'm not sure how this is related to AT&T, but there should be something in there. 5 stocks analysts recommend heading into 2020. There may be, presumably, AT&T is mentioned there. 2 stocks accounted for 15% of market gains in 2019. Maybe AT&T is mentioned there as well. So by clicking on the news button, I get several articles instantly that I can read and take notes on from conducting research into the company. Sometimes you'll have the financials here. Usually I prefer to get the financials directly from the company's website. By clicking on financials, there's some basic information about the company. Quarterly financial reports from September, June, March, and December. List their revenue. As of September 2019, for that quarter, their revenue is $44.59 billion. Net income of $3.7 billion, and importantly, we can see that it's down compared to where it was. Diluted earnings per share is also down, and so on. The profit margin down, operating income down, net change in cash negative $1.87 billion. So that's how much money that they, not necessarily that they lost, but that's how much cash that they don't have that they did have. Cash on hand, $6.59 billion. Click on June, and that shows me their June financial reports. As I said, I prefer to get this straight from AT&T's website. And you would do this with any company that you're researching. After you've looked the company up on Google Finance, your second step should be to go to the company's website. AT&T official site, and it says add, though that's interesting. May not be their official site. We'll see. Now what I'm looking for is something called corporate or investor relations. Now with a telecommunications company like AT&T, that may be hard to find. It'll usually be at the very top or at the bottom. Let's try about AT&T. And here we go. Investors. Investor profile, news and events, financial reports, stock information, and so on. Financial reports, I think, is one thing that I would have to look at. There should be a series of PDFs. Usually you will have quarterly financial reports as well as annual financial reports. And right there's a document that I would need to read. Quarterly earnings, the third quarter, second, and first. If I look at 2018, there should be an annual report there. And it looks like most of that is buried in the fourth quarter earnings package. Debt, SEC filings, annual reports, there we are. Complete 2018 annual report, the letter to shareholders, and so on. These are important documents that I would want to read and cite. So far I've looked at Google Finance to get basic information on the current stock value as well as its change over time. I've looked at the financial news through Google, seeing how the company is being covered in the news right now. And I've visited the company's website to find their financial data. Having found financial data through the company's website, I'm now going to turn my attention to the MAG Library Research databases. To begin, I'm going to go to mag.ysu.edu. That's maag.ysu.edu. If you're on campus, whenever you access the database, it should take you straight to it. If you're off campus, you'll have to input your username and password and that information. I'm going to first look at A to Z research databases. Now there are three databases that are very important. One is called the S&P Net Advantage. That's a Standard & Poor's Net Advantage. The second database is called Business Source Complete, and the third is called Business Collection. So the first one, S&P Net Advantage, just click on the S's. S&P Net Advantage. Now I'll put in my stock market ticker symbol or the name of the company. Some companies, like if I type in Berkshire Hathaway, they're actually traded under 2 or 3 different stock symbols. I think there's a Class A stock, there's a common stock, and so on. It's usually best to just put in the company's actual ticker symbol that you have. So I'm going to put in T and hit enter, and that should pull up AT&T. And it did. AT&T Incorporated. This website, this database, gives me a lot of very important information. First, obviously their website address. The number of employees. AT&T hires 252,000 people, and they currently have 69 professionals that are profiled. That's 69 of their top executives that people have written about. The ticker, it's T, and it's traded on the NYSE. Some of these may be traded on the NASDAQ, which is one of the newer stock exchanges. It's about 20-30 years old. AT&T founded in its current iteration in 1983. There's a description of the business, exactly what they do. The primary industry classification, this is what they do as a company. Where they are located. Current and pending investors, sometimes this is relevant as these are the companies that are currently heavily invested in AT&T. And these are people and companies that used to be invested in AT&T. It gives me the value of the stock, previous close, and so on, change for the day, the volume, that's how many shares were in active trading. Market cap, that's how many shares are out there. and that, or rather, that's how many shares exist. Shares out, that's how many shares have been are available. Float, I'm honestly not sure exactly what that means. You'd have to look that up if it was relevant to you. Dividend yield 5.3%, so they do pay a dividend to their investors. I have more of their financial information, their total revenue, and so on. Total assets, total debt. As I can see, they have quite a lot in assets. I believe these are in millions. 548 million. I'm not sure exactly how to read that. I know it's not 6 million. I think it's 548,000 million, whatever that is. Several, I think 5.4 billion or so on. But if I look at total assets and compare that with total debt, I can see instantly that the assets number is higher than debt. That's always a good sign for the company. It means that they have a lot more assets than they do debt. At this current time, if AT&T were to go bankrupt, they have enough assets to sell off to pay off their debt. So that's usually a good indicator of a company's strength, where they have more assets than they have debt. It's the same thing as your personal checking account. If you have more money in your checking account than you have bills going out, then you're in a fairly good position. Key professionals, some of this may be relevant, some of it may not. Usually if I'm discussing the key professionals, I talk about the chairman and CEO. Sometimes the president is also relevant. Senior vice president of investor relations, that could be an important person as well. Current and pending subsidiaries, these are companies that AT&T owns. You can see Warner Media, a fairly large media company. So there's all that data that I can get on Standard & Poor's NetVantage. By clicking on primary industry classification, I can see what other companies are in that same grouping. In other words, exactly who AT&T's competitors are in the same industry. One of them here, not surprising, Verizon Communications. Nippon Telegraph and Telephone Corporation. I think that's based in Japan. Deutsche Telekom, Saudi Telecom, so not all these are American companies. China Tower Corporation Limited, and so on. So if AT&T were going to try to get into Germany, or maybe they already are, I'm not sure, this would be one of the competitors that they would be facing. So that's the S&P NetAdvantage database. Again, to get to that, I went to A to Z Research Databases, clicked on S, and chose S&P NetAdvantage. Next, I'm going to look at Business Source Complete by clicking on B. Scroll down. There's Business Collection that we'll look at momentarily. Business Source Complete. This one is hosted through EBSCO, I believe. Yeah. So there are many databases through EBSCO. This is just one of them. And I'm going to put in my company name, AT&T. And this is going to pull up articles on AT&T. Not every one will be relevant. I mean, this has pulled up almost 3 million hits. I can change advanced search, put in investment, and hit search. 839,000. I can change AT&T to title to make sure that the article is primarily concerned with AT&T. That should limit those hits. And it did. I'm down to 6,288. Subject. Long-term evolution. Might be something there. I'm not sure. Change to relevance. Date newest. There are several newer articles which may have right here. This is from December 16th. AT&T will grow on fiber diet. That strikes me as being very relevant to a discussion about AT&T's stock prices, and that's going from December 16th.